Nice to see you again. Today I'm gonna give you the ultimate guide to the writing part in your Goethe Zertifikat, and it's gonna be part 2, maybe it is part 1, I'm not sure, because it depends on your level. You can easily stay tuned till the end, because it doesn't matter whether you are preparing for B1, B2 or C1, because the task on its own is still the same. You're going to talk about the letter, right? So what is different is that the words you see in the task on its own are more complex. The structures used there can seem to be more difficult. But in reality, what is awaited from you is still the same. I'm also going to give you some ChatGPT prompts that you can use to check your writing. You will also find a free PDF from me with the different linking constructions that you can use to improve your writing. It's absolutely free, so make sure to check it out. The first thing you have to focus on is that you manage to write this task within 10 to 15 minutes. 10 is the best, 15 is okay. It doesn't matter how much time the exam says you have to spend on this task, because 10 minutes are enough if your level is strong enough. That means that you can train yourself for that. And now I understand that in the beginning it can take you longer. So that's why we are here today, because today I'm gonna tell you how to train that. And so let's say today is the day when you decided you're gonna start training that, okay? That is absolutely great. So what you do is you take a sample task. You definitely already have tons of books that you can use for your preparation. So you take one sample task, a letter, be that B1, B2, C1, whatever. You take a letter. You can even find it online on their website, right? If you're preparing, they have like sample exams, etc. So you take this task, and then what you start doing is the following thing. You start writing and you set your timer. If you feel like you need to Google some words or you want to translate something, do that. And do not stop the timer. Once you're done with your writing, you stop the timer, you check the time, and you see how long it took you. It can be from 20 minutes to 40 minutes, like half an hour, whatever. And now you could be like, oh my God, I am so stupid. It's just a letter. Why am I like this? Stop here. We are here to train that and to fix that. So now let's say it took you half an hour, whatever. The first thing you do is mistake correction. So if you don't have a private teacher to discuss your tasks with, you can go to ChatGPT and give in the following prompts. The first thing you want to check for is the articles. Did I use articles before nouns? It's a common mistake. Cases. Did I use them in correct cases? Adjectives. Do all of my adjectives have correct endings? And if not, why? And also, what case is it that I confuse? Like maybe you used the wrong case, maybe you use dative instead of accusative. Ask yourself why, right? Maybe you first should go back to that topic, learn that, and then return to writing letters again, right? By the way, if you confuse dative and accusative, you can check out my other video where I explain the difference and how to use it. It's super simple. You can learn it in like 5 minutes, so go check it out. Okay, now the next thing you focus on is the choice of words. You know, sometimes if you are learning a foreign language, you can use words in the wrong context. It's a common problem. Also, make sure to check that your verb and noun collocations are correct, because sometimes we confuse them as they can be different in different languages. Okay, now let's talk about the structure. First things first, your letter should always begin with opening words, and it should always end with your name and surname, exactly in the same order as I mentioned, your name and surname. Okay, good. Now, these words should not be new to you. Like, it always starts with the same thing. So that means you have to memorize it and you have to learn to write it correctly, okay? So once you start reading the task, you will see that the person you have to write to is either a male or a female. Depending on that, you have to choose the correct ending for the adjective you will use it, because your opening words will always be the same. And so you start your letter with the following: Sehr geehrte Frau, if you are writing to a woman, or Sehr geehrter Herr, if you're writing to a man, right? And so then, very important here, you put a comma and you start the next sentence with a new paragraph. And this next sentence is written with a small letter. It is not a capital letter, it is a small letter, okay? Please pay attention to the fact whether you're writing to a woman or a man, because you can lose your points here easily. You don't need to lose your points there. a silly mistake to make. So normally you have like these 4 points that you have to consider in your writing. You would have to say why you're writing to this person. You have a problem and it needs a solution, so you have to offer one. And then because there is a problem, most likely you have to excuse yourself, right? So it is actually logically connected. And now be careful, because these points will not be sorted in the order they should be in. That means you have to logically understand what comes after what, okay? Now, how do you recognize this? First, you can have something like erklären Sie, warum Sie schreiben, blah, blah. That means you have to explain why you're writing, right? Or it can be something like machen Sie einen Vorschlag. That means you have to offer a solution. You can have something like bitten Sie Verständnis für Ihre Situation. That means you have to say, I hope you understand that it's very complicated for me right now, etc. For each of these points, which means you have 4 points, that means you have to use at least 4 phrases. And actually you don't need to use more, but you need to use 4 phrases for each of these points. You can find these phrases in my free PDF file. So please go to the description of this video and download the PDF, because it's gonna help you a lot. Okay, so now I'm gonna give you an example of how to structure your letter. So you always go with the following. Sehr geehrte Frau, geehrter Herr, ich schreibe Ihnen, weil, blah blah, and then you say why. Ich hoffe auf Ihr Verständnis. Ich verstehe, dass die Situation für Sie auch schwierig ist. Deswegen schlage ich vor, dass, bla bla bla. And then you say, mit freundlichen Grüßen, Olga Utkina. Ne? Das ist mein Nachname und, also mein Vorname und Nachname. Genau. Okay, so now why is this logical? Why is this a good structure? Writing a letter with this structure is so easy. You literally start with I'm writing because, and then you explain why you're writing, and you have it in your description, like this is the task itself, and then you say, ich hoffe auf Ihr Verständnis, and then you go, I understand that it is also difficult for you, right? And then that's why I'm offering a solution, and that's it, perfect, like it just sounds super logical. Another common question is, how do I know what to write? Now look, these letters are always about certain issue that you have caused or somebody else has caused, but it doesn't matter, because you can still use the same excuse for them. Let's say you could normally something like I can't come to the class, I can't come to work, or this and that, something doesn't work. You can always be, you have to come up with an excuse why. Let's say your mom is ill and you have to take care after her, or your kid is ill, whatever. If you don't like saying that, choose something that sounds logical and something that you can use all the time, or you can be ill, whatever. So it should be something universal, you know, that is applicable to almost every situation. And once you have that, you just repeat it in every letter. You do not have to be original. It's not about that. It's about you knowing how to write things properly, how to use correct grammar, and then you also already know what words to choose, you know, so you're absolutely sure about what to write, and you spend less time thinking, you just spend your time writing, that's it. Now you know in what order to write things, how to write them. Another common issue is that people do not get enough words. How do you fix that? You add one more sentence to each sentence you wrote. Let's go back to what we learned before. We know we have 4 parts, right? That means first you say, I'm writing to you because, and you have to add one more sentence to that. For example, I'm writing to you because there is an issue at our workplace. And then you start explaining the issue itself. So now you already have, let's say, from 2 to 3 sentences, depending on what the situation is. And then you have to use the phrase, I hope you understand my situation, blah, blah. And then you say, you have to offer a solution, right? So you can say, I have 2 solutions to offer, right? So if instead of 1, you offer 1 more. And then you say, I have, or you can be like, I have a solution to offer. Let's say we have to buy more chairs. I think the idea is good because we have a really good supplier. It always works, everything always works well with him. It doesn't matter, right? You just have to come up with something that sounds more or less reasonable. But the thing is, just always add the because, right? You can, it's not like it's not allowed, you know, you can add some more information to that. So every time you force yourself to say because, you also force yourself to add more information, and that is good for you, because this is exactly how you get your word count. Now you're good to go, and you are absolutely prepared for the second part, or maybe it is the first part, I don't know, of your writing part in Goethe Zertifikat B1, B2, C1, remember that. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to post the second part for the essay, where you have to write the essay. Once again, it's going to be the ultimate guide, because it actually doesn't matter what level it is, it's about how you learn to write things, and then the complexity adds to that if you learn certain words. I wish you luck in your exam. Bye bye.